Over to you, Satma.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I am truly honored and humbled to be here. And I think obviously, all of you guys know I am a firm believer in learning through experience and your own or someone else's. So everyone has a different story to tell and a unique lesson to share. So thank you for giving this opportunity for me to share some of mine. And I hope you can find a little bit of inspiration from all of it.
I'm sure we all will, Satma. So let's start. We all know a lot, as I said in the introduction as well, about your Rotaract journey, a lot. But I think we should start from childhood when you were in school. Let's talk a bit about what kind of challenges that you had to face when you were a child and when you were in school.
All right. Okay. So I come from a family of five. I have two older brothers. So it wasn't just my parents who were protective, but I also had my older brothers sort of looking after me, and they are still up to date, doing that. They're still protective over me. But that didn't stop me from choosing my own path and finding myself for my own. My parents gave me the freedom to choose whatever I wanted, to study, to do extracurricular activities, anything really. So in that way, I've been privileged to have such a strong backing and two incredible parents. Who would always be there for me. So growing up, I think a lot of families don't have this, though. I think it's always the parents who are sort of forcing you to, study a particular subject, study a particular avenue, be an engineer, be a doctor, and some or the opposite side, they might say, you know what, you don't need to do the easy hard subject. You can just do the easy ones. You can just not study the hard ones. You don't have to be good in math, or you don't have to do tech-based subjects. Unfortunately, there are children like that out there, but I am not one of them. I grew up with amazing parents who said, sweetheart, do whatever makes you happy, do whatever you like. But that wasn't always the case when it came to school, right? I didn't always have that freedom. I mean, yes, I do come from an all-girls school. And some teachers were an absolute delight, right? They told us to follow your dreams, to follow your passions, and to be yourself, and to make your mark in the world. But it wasn't always the case. I think I remember this one particular incident. I still remember it, because there was this one teacher who basically kept on saying, I hate teaching girls. They're so difficult, they're so stubborn, and they have such an attitude. I think that was a word that was thrown around back in the day. And she basically just despised like girls in general, and she didn't want to teach them. And in my head, I was just a child, right? I'm like, so is that something wrong with the gender? Or like, why are we so difficult, right? And it's just a girl who's like 10 years, 11 years maybe, because I haven't heard anything else. Like, this is what I'm hearing from my adults, the teachers that I look up to in school, right? And I think that's a mindset that we want to break. I know maybe it wasn't intentional. They didn't know that they were creating this little impact in a child's mind, right? But for a little girl, this brings out a whole different vibe that, that girls can't be as good as boys, or that they are somehow bad at things or bad at learning than boys. So I think that is one significant moment that I remember from my childhood. But going beyond that, if you look into some other areas, like girls are usually told that they need to dress a certain way, or they need to talk a certain way, or they need to act a certain way, right? And this certain way was just like a girl. You need to dress like a girl. You can't wear jeans. You need to dress like in a pretty frock, and you need to talk like a girl. You can't talk back to people like that. And, you need to obey, just look down and just do as men would tell you to do. And you need to act like a girl and to behave, and you need to learn how to cook and whatnot, while the other boys can enjoy it nicely, right? But the question is, yeah, so the question is, who defines like a girl? Like, who defines is what is this exact definition of like a girl, right? And I think that is also one of those things that I've experienced as a child. So I hope in upcoming generations, in like children who are in schools right now, I hope they're not going through the same thing, because that's something as Rotaractors I think we can do to change. That's definitely something we can look at. We need to promote the positive side of it, and not just the typical stereotypes thrown at girls, right? So that's also one thing. And I think finally I'll touch up on a little bit of bullying that I went through in school. Not a lot, maybe. I was a little privileged, but of course we had our typical bullies in school. Maybe not me, maybe my friends, right? There were various types of bullies. Maybe it wasn't intentional, like I said. Like some of my bullies I'm still friends with, and they've also grown as people, and they've realized that whatever they did back in the day was absolutely wrong. For me in particular, it was body shaming, right? I know I call myself fat, but I was a lot more skinnier back in the day when I was in school, and I was obviously sort of a part of this body shaming, right? I was a victim of it, sort of. So body shaming, for those of you who don't know, it's criticizing your own or someone else's body behind their backs or their faces. It's basically undermining someone based on their appearance, right? It could be just, it goes beyond just fat shaming or skinny shaming. It could be your height or your, say, various sizes of body parts or whatever, right? And women go through this all the time. And if you ask anyone in this audience, they would say, like, either they've been sort of a victim to it, or one of their friends, right? And it's such a social norm now that people don't even realize that it's actually hurting someone's well-being. So much so that people go into severe cases like depression and all of that, right? So coming back to my question, my setting, like I said, when I was a little bit bullied for this same thing, for being too skinny or being too flat and all of that, right? And I constantly kept thinking that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't pretty enough like the other girls, that I wasn't smart enough, or like that I don't dress like the other girls, that I don't dress well enough. I used to dress like a boy, and people used to tell me, you're just wearing jeans and like a t-shirt. Why are you wearing that? You need to wear heels and you need to do all of that, right? But in reality, you don't. You can wear whatever you want, wear whatever is comfortable, right? And I think we need to teach these to our younger generations, because we get caught up in how the world wants us to look, how the society wants us to look, that we forget to enjoy our lives the best way that we can as humans. So yeah, I think that is a little bit from my childhood experiences.
Yeah, like the thing is, no matter how big or how small kind of inquiry someone else does, you don't know how much it affects the other person. So that's what you have to be careful about, isn't it?
Exactly. We don't think it from someone else's perspective. We always think, oh no, okay, I look better than her, so let me say something snarky, right? So we don't really, put ourselves in someone else's shoes and think about it.
Yeah. Even though these kind of things happened in school, I don't think that stopped you from achieving whatever you want. So how about in school? What kind of things that you did, like when it comes to leadership?
So in school, I was one of the band leaders, and I was the president at the English Union, and I was obviously involved in a lot of other societies as well. And in terms of band per se, because more than everything else, I think that's something that affected me the most. It was a remarkable experience. The best and the worst, I should say. Yes, we had amazing moments. Like when you go on stage and when you play music, I think that just beats everything, and it feels really good. But we also had that, teasing and like the strictness from like seniors. You need to be prim and proper around them. Then you have your teachers who are like there to like scold you if you do something wrong. So I think that was very like vigorous and like tough on people, because I have friends who just like left. They quit. They're like, you know what? I can't deal with this person. I can't deal with this pressure, right? And so we obviously have that in every year, not just like our year, but like people who came after us and our seniors. There were so many incidents where they've left. And it's not like say it's not because of one individual person, it's the whole experience, the whole package, right? It's all of that pressure, because if you go out there and play something else, you're just ruining for your entire team. I think it's just like how sports would work, right? It's a team thing. So you have that pressure involved as well. And we had this thing where if you're in the band, you can't be in like the choir and other things. So that was very hard, like, because some people want to do both, like myself. I want to do both, but I didn't really get that opportunity always. I tried to work around it a little bit, because we do have like inter-house tournaments. So for those, I used to shape Pekego. So yes, we did find a way, but I think, I mean, unintentionally, there were a lot of restrictions and pressure from a lot of teachers. I'm not blaming anyone. It might have been unintentional, yes, but at the end of it, it was the child who was like suffering from it, right? Similar case when it comes to maybe the English Union. It wasn't so much pressure, obviously. Like I said, it was just like a year-long thing. I had an amazing team actually in that as well. We organized the English Day for the school, and that was a lot of fun. And I think that was a place where we got to sort of celebrate one another and to sort of work together. So I think that was all in all quite a good experience, I should say. Yeah. So those are basically my school leadership roles.
Yeah, when you like weigh the good against the bad, I think it's the, no matter how bad it is, like it's always there. But the fact that like what you have to do is like go through, like get through the pressure and all of that, and it was worth it in the end, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like I said, despite all of that pressure from like your seniors and your teachers, when you go up on stage and you play and everyone's just like cheering for you, and it's a remarkable experience. Like that feeling is just amazing. So it's all worth it. Yeah.
Amazing. So now let's move on to a bit more towards Rotaract. Let's talk about Rotaract achievers and how you started there and what kind of, things that you did, like sharing projects, and how did you take up leadership over there?
Okay, so Rotaract is actually one of my amazing stories, like my go-to inspirational stories. I believe I am who I am because of Rotaract, and I will always be grateful for it. So starting from the beginning, I joined Rotaract sometime back because of my brother. I think most of you know this, but he's one of my biggest inspirations. And I wanted to be just like him. Like when I was small, I wanted to be a boy so that I could like be him. And because he was involved in youth movements, I wanted to be involved in like youth movements and like something like Leo or something. And conveniently, I found a Rotaract club at Achievers when I started doing cinema there. Actually, to be very honest, the reason why I picked Achievers was because they had a Rotaract club to do cinema actually. So I was that involved, like I was like doing my research and things. But despite all of that, of course, I was scared. And I made a deal with Nuanti, the immediate past vice president. And she was like, okay, if you join this, I'll join this with you. It was like a two-way thing, right? And I like grabbed her and went. And it was pretty easy to convince her because we were told that we were getting free food. And her, along with a bunch of other people, we just got together and then we went for our first meeting. And it was just overwhelming. Like everyone, honestly, we felt like we were like not going to fit in there, right? Because it was a whole new experience. Like, they're talking about all these projects and people and avenues. And we are like, what is happening? Right? It was like completely new for us. And, but we did stay there. I think mostly because of the food. The rest stayed because of the food, definitely. And they were actually more than me also. They were all pretty involved. I wasn't a major fan of the food, so I didn't have anything to just sort of drive me apart from the people. So because the others also stayed, I also stayed back, right? But it sort of changed when I was given to chair the newbie project called Sherwood Shootout with my co-chairperson, Rotaract, Hassan, right? And in a group, I think the club service team at the time said, you guys are chairing this. And I'm like, but what? I'm like so confused. And I was also like pissed because I have all these responsibilities. I don't even know how to do it. And I was like, what are you doing? I can't do this. He's like, no, you're doing it. And I think it was Rimzan. I don't think the newbies would know him. He was like, look, you're doing it. That's it. So I had to take it up, right? And I think we were lucky. I think I was lucky to be put in that position despite all of that, because it was the start of my Rotaract career. And also, I should say, we did have this nice thing where for each project, we were going to get like one girl share and one boy share. So that was really, really nice of the club. And I'm also lucky to be a part of a club that doesn't really have gender-based discrimination. And I really want to exaggerate this because I know it seems normal to like us, but it is a privilege, because when you look at the bigger picture, more often than not, this is an exception, because they do get discriminated because of gender all the time. They might not get presidency. They might just be secretaries because they are female. Like it's really out there, despite us trying to turn it around. And right. So it was a privilege. And then as a PD director, I got to share some of my favorite projects, Friends in Action and Jumpstart. I think both of these projects were large-scale projects that I'm truly proud of to this date. And more than anyone, I think I kept thinking to myself, can I do this? These are like big projects, and FIA was initially a district project, and it had like all of this talk, right? Can we do this? Am I going to make a loss to the club? And then Jumpstart was like a novel thing at that time. We were like the first chair people, right? So we had no experience and no one to like give us like, real examples of what happened in the day or something, right? Because it was new to the entire team, including the president. So I think that was like a stopping place for me, like a milestone where I think I don't know if I could do this, and I kept on underestimating myself, right? And also one like a little detail, funnily enough, Jumpstart was like my first time balancing multiple things in life. I know now I talk a lot about it, like balancing all of this and that and all of that, but back in the day, that was the first time I was balancing my CIMA case study. I had uni midterms, and I was also chairing this large scale project that I had no idea on like how we are going to do it, right? So I don't think there's necessarily a correct way to tackle something like that. It's sort of an experience you just get on the job, right? And I think the best way you can do is to take one step at a time, right? I make a lot of lists. I know y'all know this, but I do make a lot of lists. So what I used to do is like list down everything, and then even the small ones, I just like tick it off one by one, both academic and non-academic, right? So I think that sort of helped for the overwhelming amount of work even now, I think. And another point I need to really mention is that we as Rotaractors, we always help each other, so whenever you feel overwhelmed, especially if you feel like you have way over your head, I think you need to reach out to your fellow Rotaractors and ask for that help. I've had really amazing co-chair people. I've had an amazing PD director, Rotaract Aruna. And having that backbone, like having that support from other Rotaractors is just amazing. It takes you a really long way. So that was my experience in terms of Jumpstart and PD projects. And FIA was pretty much the same. I had a lot of support from my fellow Rotaractors. I just remember we're gathering at my place, and all of us are doing like something completely different. We did lose a lot of sleep, but I think we're sort of all used to it. And I love that FIA taught me things that I never thought I'd learn. Like I learned a lot of new skills from Photoshop. That was the first time I tried Photoshop, and video editing. That was the first time I did that. Also, they were not great at all, but I still did it, and I still know this. And to this date, I'm grateful. Like because we didn't have anyone, because I was forced to like make a poster, I can now make posters. Now I make posters for work even, right? So it was because of that. It was the stepping stone. And it was very cool because I got to know like local musicians and celebrities, and got the whole exposure on how the music industry works in Sri Lanka. So that was also really nice. So yeah, all in all, it was a wonderful experience in terms of all of these projects. And I think it really shaped me and taught me skills that I needed later in life.
Yeah, I think you made some really valuable points there, especially like when someone is about to take up this huge responsibility, like they're so overwhelmed, like thinking, okay, I don't know how to do this. I have no knowledge in this area. But those things should not be like obstacles to what you want to get, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, if you feel like you don't know something, just talk to someone, because you're not the first person doing it, chances are, right? So always reach out, talk to your presidents, talk to your secretaries, talk to your fellow directors or Rotaractors. If you don't want to talk to someone in the club, then talk to someone outside the club, right? To your friends. Just reach out if you don't know something. And if you don't know something that I always do is I Google, like any typical person would do. I YouTube like lectures I don't understand, but most of the time I YouTube them and follow some Indian guy talking about it. But that's why you need to do your research, because you can't just be like, I don't know this, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Instead, you can just try your luck, ask someone or ask the internet and learn about it. I think that's like the best way that you can sort of absorb new skills to your life. Yeah.
Ask the Indians simply.
Exactly.
All right. So when it came to like from professional development director to secretary, and you become president for the years 2019, 2020. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is completely different to being an avenue director. There's a lot more responsibilities, but in your year you tackle them really well. You became best president. You made your club the best club. You initiated a lot of impactful projects. So let's talk a bit about that year. How was it?
Thank you so much, by the way, for saying all that. My secretary and my presidency years were magical, honestly. I love them. If I could do it all over again, I would in a heartbeat. I loved being a secretary and a president, right? And I can't even choose, because those two roles they're equally important in a club, and I can't really pick, because they were like separate responsibilities, like different to one another, but amazing in its own ways, right? So as a secretary, I think I had a lot of guidance from my immediate past president, Rotaract Hamdan. It was always him pushing me, saying, "You've got this. You're amazing. So keep going at it." So I think it was a time where I underestimated myself a lot, and he was always there to sort of be like, "No, you're doing a brilliant job. Keep going." And I never thought that I would get like best secretary or anything, because I wasn't working for it, right? I never ever like dreamt of it, because I always thought, I might not be good enough, right? I'm not going for all of these events a lot, so I don't think I'll get it. The district doesn't know me and all of that, right? I thought it's all of that, but it wasn't, right? So it was like an amazing experience in that way. And as a president, I think I've told this before, but Rotaract Achievers is like my magic. And going into that presidency year, I had so many goals in my mind. I mean, from sustainability to membership development to like innovation and all of these impact projects. And I wanted to tick these goals out one by one. So whenever we discuss like a project idea, in the back of my head or like in the back of my book, actually, I just quickly check if it's falling under my like avenue areas. And if I can't, like I try and sort of put it in a way, like direct it towards that in the discussion, right? Without even telling the members, sometimes I shape it and nudge them a little towards like the goals that I had in mind, right? Because more than anything, I wanted our members to learn, right? And for myself to learn as well and get as many leadership experiences as possible. I think that really is my driving force behind being, like as a president. Looking back a little bit from that, I joined the club when there was a female president, talking about the female role models in the club. She was the 7th president, but she was the very first female president. And even then, afterwards, we had a female president. So I think I was extremely lucky and grateful to have worked with these amazing, inspirational women, like, who put themselves out there. And like I said, even today, I look up to them. They might not even know it, but I like see how well they like go through life, how they balance everything, and I'm motivated and I'm excited, by seeing their lives, and how they inspire everyone. So I think that's like my motivation and my inspiration as like a female leader. And I think even as a president and a secretary, I've met people outside the club also, to be fair. I've met other Rotaractors, I met other presidents, I met other female presidents and female role models. I've met district officials who are like leading clubs, people, teams, projects, and they're doing an amazing job, right? And even the movement, we've had female DRRs, and they're leading hundreds of other Rotaractors. And me surrounding myself with these strong women, I think that made me realize that, being a girl shouldn't be a reason for you to not be who you want to be, right? You need to go for it, because if there can be female DRRs, there can be like female presidents, I think you can truly achieve everything and anything in terms of Rotaract, right? And not just in terms of Rotaract, but in life in general. So I think surrounding yourself with those power women sort of boosted my motivation and as well. And truth be told, it doesn't come easy to anyone, right? It doesn't come easy, right? And you need to either, whatever happens, you need to sort of push yourself through it and not let anyone affect you and how you feel about yourself. And I think I remember this one particular moment when I was just about to be president. I don't know, for some reason it still does like pop into my head from time to time, right? There was one person who said, I don't think she'll be a good president. And when I heard this at the time, I was obviously hurt. I was like, okay, because I was hurt, of course. But then I thought to myself, you know what? Wait and see, I'm going to be the best darn president. Of course, what I realized afterwards, that after I became president, is that it's not about being the best. It's about doing something worthwhile, and that something you can be proud of, and being able to inspire someone, at least one person, to, sort of to be a better human. But point being, I used to sort of be sensitive growing up, right? I used to be affected when someone would say something mean to me, when lecturers used to say something mean, or even my teachers and my friends rather. Yeah. But this is sort of something you learn the hard way. It doesn't matter what people say about you, because you can't please everyone in the world. You just can't, right? So it doesn't matter. There will always be someone who would say, I don't think she'll be a good fit. I don't think she'll do a good job. I don't think, this person will achieve this. But I think you should be able to ignore all of that, because it does not matter, guys. Let me stress that out. It doesn't matter what other people say, as long as you are true to yourself and you believe in yourself. I think that's like the fuel that you need to keep yourself going. And that's why I said, if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, it sort of makes it easier for yourself to believe in yourself. So I think, that was basically my experience as a president and a secretary.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't easy. Even it can just be one or two words simply that will crumbles everything that you work so hard to build yourself to. So, but still, that you proved that you can to be an amazing president and amazing leader. And now that you have moved on to the district steering committee, and you had the opportunity to chair the Rotaract district conference. This time it's virtual, and the virtual district conference. So let's talk a bit about how that experience was as a district committee member.
Okay, so being in the district was a whole different ballgame. I think I saw things from a completely different perspective, because I've been in Rotaract Achievers for a long time, and this was a completely different hierarchy, right? A whole new set of people and a whole new set of mindsets. Like, their thought processes were different fundamentally. And so first of all, I thought, do I fit in? And the next thing I thought was, it's going to be really tough, because I'm used to a certain way, the Achievers way. So how do I fit into this? How do I sort of get the best experience from being in the district? And I doubted myself for a very long time, because it wasn't like I wasn't good enough for anything, but it was more like, it's a new setting, right? So will I be just as good here? Like, will I just be, can I do everything that I did as a president or a secretary here? Right, the people are different, and they are just as good, everyone in the district, right? So how do I sort of keep up with these individuals? But I think overall, I think I sort of, along the way, I figured it out. I had a lot of support from my fellow PD team. They were very helpful, because I don't think without their support I couldn't have managed and fit into the role of a district official. Because when I was joining the district, even now, I kept saying, I have too much on my plate. I can't, right? I have like both of my unis. Then I just started working, and in one of my unis, I was in the 4th year. So I had my research, and then we had like other projects like the multidisciplinary projects, and working was very hectic. It was my first, like my second time working at a corporate level, and it was like, you're just an intern, right? They give you work, and that was like overwhelming, right? So how do I sort of put up with all of this? So that was a very difficult period when I just joined. I think all of that was like overwhelmingly like too much on my plate, to be very frank. But like I said, the PD team, my district PD team, was super supportive, which is why you need to ask for help, right? I said, guys, look, I can't be involved in this project because I have these things. So I'm gonna, I'm not gonna be involved in it. I hope you all can manage. And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever you can, just, pitch in whenever you can. We'll take care of the rest. So they were like super supportive in that way. And when it comes to conference, like I said, it was again a whole different experience, because the entire functioning process was significantly different from how we do things at Achievers. And at this point, you're not just representing your club, right? You're representing the entire movement. You're a district official. You need to be able to sort of make sure everyone is engaged, right? You need to make sure that people are all involved, and it's not just handling like 20 people. And it was, of course, very hectic. So many meetings and so many discussions, my God. But above all, I think that whole change was the biggest thing that impacted me, like the whole functioning processes, the difference in those. And when it comes to host clubs, right, like if it's just your team, yeah, you know how it works. But here you have different host clubs, and they have the internal processes, and they have how they do things inside the club, right? So they're all different to one another, right? So you need to be able to sort of balance all of that, and balance your your fellow district steering committee members and your DEXCO. You need to sort of maintain that flow of communications, and I think that was what was very difficult. So it had a lot of adjustments. It took me a while, but I think when I actually look at it, there's that one fundamental thing that doesn't change, and that is why we do what we do, right? Ultimately, all of us, all Rotaractors, we want to do something good for the movement, right? And we also want to learn in the process. I think that fundamental objective is that one thing that doesn't change when it comes to sharing projects at a club level or a district level. So, and that becomes your end goal. So no matter what, how you function it, no matter how you sort of engage your people in, it comes down to that fundamental purpose of Rotaract, right? It becomes a whole cycle of responsibility, right? You want to be someone reliable at the end of it. You want to be able to do all these responsibilities. You get all these responsibilities, you fulfill them, you are satisfied, you're feeling like pumped, and then you get more, and then you sort of get that ownership, and you establish this cycle of reliability and responsibility. And I think that's what kept me going as a conference chair and as a district official. And not just that, even as a club PD director or a secretary or even a president. So yeah, that was basically my experience.
Yeah, from what I understand is that what you have faced, like there are different levels of understanding and different levels of commitment, like, and which gradually increases when you go up the ladder. So, but the one thing that never changes is that the purpose of why you're doing this. So I think when you stick to that, I think nothing is like impossible.
Exactly. That's how I saw it, at least. I'm sure if you ask like 10 different district officials, they'll have 10 different experiences and they'll see it in 10 different angles, right? But this is just like how I saw it and how I took it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, all these, even during all these years, even up to the district, even coming up to the district committee, the journey has not been easy. You touched upon this like before as well, but I would like to specifically ask what kind of challenges that you had to face during this journey. Uh, like any significant things that people can get, you know, kind of an inspiration from, like, as a woman and all of that.
Yeah, I think it's been an extremely challenging journey, I should say. There were a lot of tears involved and a lot of sweat, a lot of late nights. But I am, of course, grateful for all of those lessons that I've learned because of it. Rotaract, honestly, is not an easy task, right? I mean, all of us would agree. I think it's time consuming, it's financially consuming, and it's just mentally consuming sometimes. Yes, you get that satisfaction, but it is also a lot of pressure. Like when you're chairing a project, you need to know if everything's going according to plan, if you're balancing everyone, and that if you don't do a good enough job, I think that itself is a lot of pressure. And as a secretary, you have a lot of admin things to look at. You have all of your project reports, and if you don't do it, you feel like I've let down. Like, okay, so in our club, it's the project chairs who are sending in reports. You just sort of amend it, and then you report, right? If you don't do a good enough job, it's like you're letting down the chairs, the people who put it all together, the people who made it all possible. And if you let down on like admin stuff, it's like you're letting down the president, right? It's a lot of pressure on that. And I've always felt I'm super like how do I say, very adamant in terms of sticking to the deadlines. I think Hamdan would agree. I'm like always like blaming him, saying, you need to do this. What are you doing? I'm like blaming. I'm like the one who's like pointing out and saying, because it's a lot of pressure on me, right? I'm like, look, if you don't do this, I'm not going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay. Like I throw a tantrum and then he's like, chill. We've got this stuff. Don't worry. So I think that sort of is the pressure talking, right? Is like, you don't want to do a bad job. If people don't send in reports at times, like at the time that you have to report, you feel like, okay, if I don't report this, it looks bad on me. Like it affects my role as a secretary. Like I've not done a good enough job. So I think that whole pressure is there. And as a president, my God, you're sort of responsible not just for your club, but also your members. And that's something I've definitely felt, right? Because, okay, at the start of the event, we've had, of the year rather, we've had some incidents. So I feel always responsible. They are my babies. I need to look after them. And then when COVID struck, as a president, we were just in our like third quarter, right? I need to make sure that they're safe, that they're not going out. And I think as a president, you need to make those tough calls, right? If it's not safe for your members, you don't want to do it, right? You need to make those tough calls. If you're doing a project in COVID, you're sending them out. Are you sure you want to do this? Because I don't know if it's just me, but I think every president sort of feels this. They are your like babies. You need to be protective of them and you need to take care of them. I know they're all like grown and like adults who can take care of themselves, but more or less you feel that attachment, right? You feel that sense of, I don't know, like I need to take care of my babies. I think that sense of feeling is something that you can't really shake off as a president. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it comes down to how much you care about one another, right? And I think when it even comes to projects, there were so many times things went wrong. I mean, I don't want to specify this, but like the day of Konkalam, the morning, that was, something terribly went wrong. And I'm just nicely doing something like minding my own business. And someone tells me, don't freak out. So this happened. And I'm just like, I'm going to die. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like it's very tough in that way, right? And everything that could
let
go
me
wrong.
Tell you, we couldn't even, anybody couldn't even look at your face that day. You were like so, literally like you looked like trash and all of that because there was so much pressure.
so much, right? And when something, even the slightest thing goes wrong, you're just like, I can't. I just can't. Oh my God, what am I going to do?
It's like the world has stopped. What am I going to do?
Exactly. Like, the world is collapsing right behind you, and you're just like, shoot, what do I do? Right? So I think that is like one of the biggest things that comes up as a president. And beyond from that, you also have like the individual, right? Like the criticism, right? She's not being a good enough president. She's not doing a good job for the role. And it comes down to how much you care about what other people think also. Like, they can, like I said, it doesn't matter. They can say anything, but what you say to yourself is what matters. If you keep doubting yourself, can I do this? Can I, how do I cope up with this work? How do I balance all of these projects, right? And I think Rotaract and a lot of other clubs who are active, they have multiple projects in a week. So you have multiple teams to handle, right? And then you have all of these meetings like every single night. So, how do I not get scolded from my parents? So I think as a president, this is like the biggest thing that came up, even as a secretary. I kept on doubting myself, and I realized that it's the reputation of the club. And at one point, I think we were dealing with an external sponsor for one of our projects, and we sort of had to like scrap them last minute because of some challenges that took place internally in the project and the sponsorship, right? And at that point, you're just putting the whole reputation of the club out there. You're like, should we do this or should we not? Should we go for it or not? So it's a lot of decision making in terms of, it comes down to you. And there were so many times that I've said that I was scared that I might make the wrong decision. So I was like, guys, let me think about it. Let me sleep on it and get back to you tomorrow, because I didn't want to be making the wrong decisions for my club, because ultimately it not just affects the reputation of the club, but also your members, their motivation, right? That passion that keeps them going. It affects all of that. So you need to think about all of those aspects. I think obviously I talk a lot about being brave and being fearless and all of that. But to be very honest, I was scared, right? I was scared when I took up secretary. I was scared when I took up presidency. So that was still there. It didn't like fade away. I don't know what was gonna come. And most importantly, it wasn't what scared me. It was about letting my members down. And to brag a little bit, we've had like a past history of becoming most outstanding and having like amazing presidents, like most outstanding presidents and secretaries and all that. Those are big shoes to fill, and I felt like if I don't do that I've let them down. But let me tell you, it doesn't matter. Some award like that does not matter. You just need to, like I said, do something worthwhile, something that you can be proud. And if you've managed to inspire at least one other person to be a better human overall, I think that is when you've done a good job. Okay, so none of that external recognition matters if you've done your part in terms of inspiring someone else. I think so that is something that I've really learned as a president, and I wish I had known early on. So guys, remember that little bit. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be someone else. Okay, you be you do you, and become your own person. And I think going into a little unpopular opinion, something that I just remembered is that it's okay to break down. You don't have to be perfect all the time. You don't have to be like spotless. Guys, it's okay. Okay. It's okay to cry it out. It's okay to have those mental, emotional breakdowns. And from time to time, you will have those. And that's okay. Because as long as you can get back up and know that you can be stronger than ever, and tackle, like if you were given the same situation again, you can tackle it better. That's when you know that you've done it, right? That's what makes it okay. And to be very honest, I also cry all the time. Sometimes I'm like, I think during my first year in uni, I cried so much because I was late to a lecture and my lecturer kicked me out. I know it's really small, but I did because I'm like, oh no, I'm missing it. Like, I mean, even something so small could like affect me, but obviously not anymore, I think. Even if it does, it's okay, right? That's the whole point. If it does, even now, something like that affects you, that's okay. Just, don't bottle it up, let it out, cry it out. Just, have that breakdown. And then the next morning you get up and you go back to grinding, you go back to hustling, and get out there and you do it the best way that you can. And so I think that is what matters. So yeah, it's about the choices that you make in terms of getting back. I think I'm sure you all heard of Dumbledore's famous saying, right? It's the choices that matter more than our abilities, something along those lines. Yeah, so it's about choosing to get back up every time something is thrown at your way. Embrace that challenge. Find inspiration. Okay, I do this all the time. If I feel down, I find inspiration. I listen to someone inspiring. I listen to their stories. Maybe it's music that helps you. Just go back in there, listen to your favorite artist singing, jam to it, and just get back out there. I think that's also important. And I also want to
the recording has stopped.
Oh, okay. I also want to say that I think a lot of girls face the issue of not being able to go out. I'll just quickly mention a few things about it, right? And at the beginning of my Rotaract career, I was also one of those girls, right? Nothing wrong with your parents, guys. They're trying to look out for you. I know it's hard, right? But if you can't go out, there are so many ways that you can sort of compromise and find a solution for it. In my opinion, if they don't want to like send you out, I found a friend. I found Nuanthi to take me home. I found that at that time it was my president who was dropping me home and sort of taking care of me. That was because she was female and my parents trusted her, right? So there's always a solution. Just because you can't go out doesn't mean it's the end for you. Talk it out with your presidents and secretaries, because you will find help in the movement. This movement is where we help one another, right? So ask for it. Always ask for that help. And when you do ask for it, you will find a solution. It might not be the best solution or the perfect solution, but you might have to compromise on a few things. You might not be able to go out for every project, but you can still make it happen, right? And we've still had like board members completely doing it from home. They're like sending posters and videos and everything. They can't really go out. They have restrictions, but they're doing their part for the movement. So that's what matters. I think not just
this meeting is being recorded,
but to sort of go out there and keep hustling and finding a way, because it's not black and white, guys. It's not just this or that. It's not just yes or no. There is always like a middle ground that you can find. So look for it carefully and then you will find. So yeah, I think that is basically some of the challenges and how I sort of tackled it. Like I said, I am grateful for all the lessons I've learned through Rotaract Achievers, because this movement lets you to learn and improve yourself, and that's an amazing thing. I couldn't have been more thankful, and truth be told, that's one of the reasons I joined Rotaract.
Yeah, I think when we talk about challenges and everything, it may sound very scary, but the message we try to give out is that it's not that scary and you can get through it, isn't it?
Yes, as long as you have support, as long as you have that motivation within yourself, I think that's very important. You need to always be able to believe in yourself. I still get this. Okay, I've been recently having a conversation with my immediate past president, and he's like, you need to go for it. Like, you have this potential, you need to go for it. And when someone says that, it sort of locks in your head, and yes, you might argue your way back and forth, yourself might be like, no, I don't think so. But when someone is giving in that, appreciation and that recognition that you want, you're always like, you know what, maybe he's right, maybe she's right, maybe I can go for it. And that's why you need to sort of worth it. Yeah, maybe it's all worth it. Maybe I can do this. So you need to have that backing, guys. If it's not coming from your friends or your family, then find new friends, find better friends who would say that to you. Or worst case, make sure you say that to yourself, right? That's important. That's why you need to surround it. The moment you believe that you can do it, that's when the whole thing changes, right? That's when you know what? I've got this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it. So yeah, I think that's like the gist of it.
Yeah, amazing, Sathma, amazing. Now I would like to ask something like this. With your experience as a leader, What is your view on women involving in leadership roles in Sri Lanka?
Okay, we've had some amazing female leaders, yes, but I don't believe that we've reached our full potential in terms of female leaders, right? Yes, of course, we've had prime ministers, presidents, and then we have our recent ones from corporate leaders like Miss Kasturi Chadaraja, breaking that glass ceiling and going for it, doing it all, power women, the real wonder women, I should say, right? But like I said, we have so much to go forward in terms of female leadership, right? If you look at the parliament, I wouldn't want to go into the statistics because I am not sure about all of that, but I know that we do have that gap, right? That void where people think girls shouldn't be running for parliament, they shouldn't be running companies, it's and they shouldn't be leading a team. We still have that mindset, and it might not be just our generation, right? It's our parents, our grandparents who might think that it, and even the incoming generation, as long as we believe that, our children would believe that then, right? So that's something you need to break like as soon as you can, because we need to work towards breaking that barrier, breaking that mindset that people think that girls can't. I mean, there were so many controversial issues going on in the day. Recently, actually, in newspapers, if you have a look at it, right? Women in power and how they were like sort of torn apart. They were like stripped of their positions and whatnot, right? And I think it starts with that mindset of people thinking girls can't. Even little things like driving, for instance, right? When I go on the road, there was like, you can see so many people saying, she can't drive, and all of that, right? You hear from truck drivers saying that a lot, and all of that, right? I mean, the little things, that's what matters. That's what we need to change. That's something fundamentally wrong with that sentence, right? It's not about the gender, guys. So I think that is definitely something that you need to break. And that's why I think we have that whole void in terms of leadership in Sri Lanka. I think that's something that we need to definitely look at. Of course, we can't change it overnight. It's a very long, old process that's there, that's in place. So I think it will take a lot of effort to break that. That's why we as Rotaractors, I think we need to sort of put ourselves together and make sure that we sort of stand up against it and make sure that we break that barrier, right? And I think we need to celebrate women leaders and encourage one another. And that all of that starts with you. If you believe that she could do it, the rest of the world will, right? And I think just to bring up, there's this funny meme, not funny, it's not funny for us, of course. There's this meme that says girls are like so fake. They're like, oh my God, so pretty. They're typing that in one another's comments, whereas boys are just like, they're not doing that or something. And people think it's funny, but it's not. It's women supporting one another. We are celebrating our imperfections and our flaws and the way we look, and we are embracing everything, and we are women now. We put ourselves out there. We continue to strive to keep on hustling, and then we are passionate, bold, creative, fierce people, right? We are always helping and supporting one another, and I think that's amazing. That's so beautiful, and you need to keep doing it despite what people say. You need to encourage one another and give that full motivation to one another, and fix each other's crowns and help ourselves, right? Like help everyone and all the women that you know in life. I think that is the beauty of it, and I think all of that starts with you, and you need to make sure that you help someone else out there. So yeah, I think that's basically my thoughts on it. Just to sort of recap, surround yourself with the people who believe in you, because it's easier to believe in yourself that way. It doesn't matter what other people say or think about you, as long as you're true to yourself and that you believe in yourself. I think that's very crucial. Try and stand up for yourself as much as you can, all the time. You need to be able to stand up for what you believe in, and I think that I've been saying since like I don't know, my Rotaract days or before that, right? Whenever someone says, even my family members, they're just like joking around. My brothers are just like, okay, you're a girl. No, I was like, look, what are you saying? No, you can't be teaching this to your kids, right? And they're like, okay, chill. But even the little jokes, yeah, the little jokes, you can't say that. You need to stop that, and you need to teach your kids that it's not. You need to teach your boys to say not to say those kind of things, right? And you need to teach your girls to be brave and to do anything that they want to do in their lives. So I think that is where standing up for what you believe in really comes up. And the other thing is to know that it's okay to break down, guys. It's really fine, as long as you can get back up there whenever and whenever you need help. Reach out, always like ask for help. And that way you can go through something together with someone else. So you don't have to do it alone. You can always ask for help. So whether you're a boy or a girl, I don't think it matters. You can do anything that you set your mind to. So have that confidence, wear that confidence around you always, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
And also, I think we have found the perfect platform, the perfect opportunity to build ourselves like that, to stand up for ourselves. And I think that's Rotaract. So I think we should get the maximum out of this now that we have chosen this path. So which what you did. So I hope that everyone will be inspired from this and choose to be in Rotaract and choose to take up more roles in leadership and push themselves to greater heights.
Yeah, and like you said, Rotaract is one of the best places for you to put yourself out there. I say this with 100% guarantee because I've had first-hand experience, guys. I wasn't like this in school. More or less, Rotaract just made me who I am today, and I'm so grateful for it. And I will always say this: it's one of the best decisions I've made in life. And of course, for the incoming team, of course, since the team wanted me to touch upon it, as of course, to all those who will lead the club in the future, of course, it's going to be tough. It's going to be super crazy and very, very undoubtedly challenging. I was lucky enough to have a very talented team. It wasn't me. It was never about me. It was the team that made it possible. I know that I'm speaking on behalf of the team, but it wasn't me, guys. It was the team who always had my back, who always did everything, every obstacle that was thrown around at them, they just overcome it with just perseverance. They were amazing. So I hope you are lucky just as much as I am to find that amazing set of individuals who will just keep pushing you forward and to and help you to make yourself better. So don't worry, you've got this. I know it's tough, but difficult roads lead to amazing destinations, and you're going to be happy with it. So just try out like that. Do everything you can, guys, in life. I think that's something I really need to say. I do say this a lot, but if you feel like you're not ready for it, that's natural. I feel it all the time, and you never will be. That's the beauty of it. You learn through your mistakes, your challenges, your experience, and that's what you want in life, which is why you need to do everything that you can. Okay, I know I have a lot on my plate. I still, if I see a really good chance, I go for it, because like I say, you only regret the opportunities you don't take. So go for it with your entire heart, guys.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Sathma, for your wonderful words. And now I would like to, spice things up a little. So let's have a little bit of a rapid fire round. What do you say?
Sure. That sounds fun.
Okay. Let me get my questions. And all right. What did you want to be when you grew up? What did you want to be when you grew up? When you were 12 years old?
I wanted to be a boy. I know it's possible now, so if you want to go for it, go for it. But yeah,
no one's judging you.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. What is the silliest thing you get nostalgic for?
Seeing band memories. I think I love seeing those pictures, and I feel like I was a different person those days. So I get this, like, it's just this explosion of, I think, nostalgic feeling. That feeling. So I think band memories would be like my trigger.
All right. Would you go to a movie alone?
Yes, absolutely. If the movie is good, but I usually prefer watching it like in my room on the laptop, because when the theater is so big, I just like send my eyes around everywhere. So I like it better watching alone. But if the movie is good and I really want to watch it, I would go for it alone.
Definitely. All right. This is one of my personal favorite questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
I'm 100. My God. No matter what other people say, I am 100.
Not 10. I don't care what anyone says. I'm 100.
100. Yes, I believe in this.
You're getting comments. All right. Let's go into more of a serious question. What have you done that you're most proud of? I think there's a lot to be proud of when it comes to you.
Yeah, I think something that I am sort of proud of every single day is I get to inspire someone through Rotaract. I think that's really nice. As a president, it might not just be a Rotaractor. I got to inspire little kids. You know, we are through Sneha, one of our projects. I think we got to inspire those kids. I think every day, from whatever the little thing that you do, you get to inspire someone. I think that's my daily proud moment.
All right. Name one thing you've learned the hard way.
Caring about what other people would say. Like I said, when I was growing up, it affected me a lot. I used to like break down all. If you ask my mom, she would say, like, for the tiniest little thing, I come crying. And if you ask someone else who would know me right now, they would be like, that's not you. I don't know if they would say that, but I hope they say that. That really changed. I think I went from like being a very sensitive person to like not caring about what other people would say. I mean, that is, I think, what matters, right? You shouldn't care what other people say, even if they say, you know, you're ugly, you're not doing this, you're doing a terrible job. I would be like, okay, fine, and just move on with my life. Because, you know, the things you think are important right now won't be in the future. So that's basically, how I go about at it.
Amazing. Here's an interesting question. Would you rather wake up to an air horn blowing in your ear every day, or wake up and have to run 4 miles every day?
Wake up and run 4 miles every day. I know someone would say otherwise, but guys, I'm trying to work out. So this is going to be my motivation. Wake up.
Personal motivation.
Yes.
All right. What's something you could eat for a week straight?
Chocolate? Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told?
I think I would rather believe everything I'm told. Yeah, I don't want to lose the ability to lie, I think. I mean, you can be brutally honest. Yeah, that's a hard one. But yeah,
But that comes too in handy, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, a little white lie here and there is just, I think it's okay. I mean, oh my God, I'm not saying that it's okay, but I just think that's something I would do. So, yeah.
What is one of your weird quirks?
I touch my hair a lot. Y'all would know. Yeah.
A little birdie told me that you have something with geckos. Is there a weird quirk that you have?
It's not a quirk, guys. I mean, I'm genuinely afraid of them. I mean, if I see like a gecko, I would just like scream running. And I've cried so many times. Like, I think a few months back, I saw a gecko near my room trying to enter my room. So I screamed so much, and I made my father like come down from whatever he's doing, and they like take it out, and I've like cried a lot about it, and like my whole family is just like, what is wrong with you? Like, yeah, so I'm like seriously afraid of geckos. So that's something to know about
Something to remember about Sathma. All right. Have you ever tried to do something you know you'd be really bad at?
Running, I think. No, I've had so many things. I would say, push-ups. I still can't do it, but I try and I try and I try. Don't laugh at me. I seriously can't do a push-up. I Googled literally how to do a push-up, and now I'm following like a 3-step course of sorts on how to do a single push-up. Yeah.
Easy ways to do a push-up.
Yeah, I know. You start with like ball push-ups, I think. So, see, steps.
All right. Is there a quote that you try to live by?
Yeah. I think I always say this: you only regret the opportunities that you don't take. So, go for everything that you think you can manage, because you don't want to regret, like I said.
All right. What fashion trend do you just not get?
Onesies. I know there's this trend where people like wear onesies for like things. I'm like, it'll be hard if you want to like pee like in the middle. So I think
It's not very convenient. you know.
I just don't get that, and I don't want to wear that. Yeah.
Yeah. I get your point. All right. So, okay, this will be the last question. What's the best compliment that you've ever received?
I look like my mother. I know. Yeah, I've been getting the fact that I look like my father for most of my life. And when someone says I look like my mother, I really like it. No offense to my father, I love him, obviously, but I just love it when someone says I look like my mom.
All right. So that's the end of the rapid fire round. You answered very well.
Thank you so much.
And also, unfortunately, that brings an end to our session as well. I would like to. I think we addressed on a lot of things today, and I think everyone who attended today will be like very inspired by what you said, by your experiences and your thoughts, and the advices that you have given today. So I hope that everybody incorporates them to their lives and be more courageous, to take up more leadership roles, more responsibilities, and push themselves through the challenges that they will face in and that they already if they face. So I would like to take a moment and thank you for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us. It was a really insightful session, Satma. And once again, on behalf of everyone who joined today, thank you very much for your wisdom and your knowledge.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for doing organizing projects like this. Obviously, not just me. If you can bring in like a lot of other females, there are so many inspiring ones out there. So thank you for giving me the chance to share some of my stories. I hope everyone learned something. It was such a pleasure to have to be here, and an honor truly. So guys, like I said, go for it with your entire heart. And thank you once again for having me.
We got this. All right. So, with that, we are going to end today's workshop. Keep your head, heels, and standards high. And I hope you will after today. So, thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. And I hope you have a very good night. Thank you very much.